Dummies. And yes, this the same job. I'm keeping the series going. But I'm gonna say the best for last. Golf course for dummies. Tennis, anyone? Green dye. Don't cry. One day the guy who do the tennis court was going on vacation. They were worried about who going to prepare the clay courts every morning and noon, right? Because they're normally done 2 times a day, morning and noon. So I worked around the tennis court that week, and I secretly was watching what this guy do every day. And I'm looking at him. I see him brushing, and then I see him take green sand, and spread it on the court. Then he brush it. Then he got some kind of brush where he cleaned the white lines or repaint them. I learned all that. So when he went on vacation, I seen the general manager out there one day. So I said, "Oh, you ain't got to worry about that no more, boss. I got it." He said, "You don't know nothing about tennis court." I said, "I know enough to get by, bro. I've been looking at him, and I looked at you just then. I looked at you do everything." He said, "Well, I'm gonna give you a try then. You can take over tomorrow, right?" So when tomorrow come, right, I'm doing the tennis court. I'm making the white lines. I'm tightening up the net. Um, I'm just doing the do. Oh, all the ladies were so happy because I was doing the court at 12 o'clock. They say, "Oh my God, he do just a good job as the other guy." So I feel proud. You just gonna go and learn clay courts and teach yourself. You get what I'm saying? But I will maintain that the court looked great. Great, real great. I had the nets tight. I washed the poles, wiped the poles off. And then Donkey was doing a water cooler on the golf course, right? And Duncan say, "Hey man, I'm behind. Can you do the one cooler at the tennis court?" Say, "Ain't no cooler at the tennis court." He said, "Yeah man, it's cooler at the tennis court. We do it when we do the golf course coolers, right?" So, he say they told me to do the tennis court cooler, Duncan say, because the man on vacation. Say when the man ain't on vacation, the man do their own cooler, David. But just do it for me, buddy. So I opened up that water cooler and almost threw up. It had 3 inches of clay sand, dyed sand, the sand that dyed green, in the bottom of that cooler. Ain't no telling how long that green dye was in that cooler and that sand, right? So I scrub it out good, real good, bleach, white detergent. I just did everything to it. I disinfect that whole cooler. And I put it back out there. And I was working around the tennis court, spraying the flower bed. And the women were talking about how great the water tastes now. And I even got Q-tips and I cleaned out the sprout, when you push the button. That was so filthy. I had to jiggle a stick in it to break up all the clay and the dye in the sand. And then I cleaned it out with one of them toothpicks we use at the shop. It's just like a Q-tip, but it got steel wool, And when the guy come back off of vacation, I say, "Hey, Do you know it was 3 to 4 inches of sand, green sand in the water cooler? I say, so the people been drinking die every time they drink out the water cooler. And he said, oh, fuck them. Golf course for dummies. Thank you and God bless.